This is Sir Alfie, and now let's talk about intersubjectivity. Every man exists with another, like a piece of a thing, a part of the totality. It is the nature of a man to socialize, and no one stands alone in the world. In this video, we will be discussing how man is a subject and an object involved in a relationship with others. Define intersubjectivity based on our own understanding. Perform activities that demonstrate an appreciation for the talents of persons with disabilities and those from the underprivileged sectors of society. And realize that intersubjectivity requires accepting differences and not imposing on others.
Let me ask you a question. What is intersubjectivity?
According to Edmund Husserl, it is the interchange of thoughts and feelings, both consciousness and unconscious, between two persons or subjects, as facilitated by empathy. It is the recognition of experience of reality from own perspective and limited by the border of one's own world. Thomas Scheff, a psychologist, defines intersubjectivity as the sharing of subjective states by two or more individuals. It can refer to common sense, which is the shared meanings constructed by people in their interaction with each other and use it to interpret the meaning of life. Also refers to partially shared thought, like self-presentation, social emotions, jokes, and lies. Pope John Paul II said that social dimension is represented by we relation. For him, action reveals the nature of the human person. Its essence is exercised through participation. The person is able to fulfill oneself, that the human person is oriented toward relation and sharing in communal life for the common good. Martin Buber contended that human refers to the life between and among persons. That refers to interpersonal, a life of dialogue, which is the relationship between the I and thou. Buber distinguishes two fundamental types of human relations, the I-thou relation and the I-it relation. A human person as a subject or self is called an I, and the other individual is called a thou. But when one regards him as an object, one reduces him to an it, which signifies an object. The I-it refers to the world of experience where there are objects. It signifies a relation that is a person to thing or subject to object. Whereas the I-thou refers to the world of relationships where there are persons. It signifies a relation that is subject to subject. However, regardless of this difference, it is important to understand that life is not dominated purely by experiences of objects or purely by encounters with persons. Human life is a mixture of both.
What type of interaction dominates in your relationship with others?
So as a human person, we must enter into an I-thou relation. It is characterized by mutuality, directness, presence, and intensity. Buber concludes, and in all seriousness of truth, hear this, without it, man cannot live, but he who lives with it alone is not a man.
What is needed in order to achieve a good relationship with others? People get a better understanding of the human person They consider human with human relation. That human relation is grounded on dialogue.
Dialogue is a deep and genuine relationship between persons. It happens when two persons truly acknowledge each other's presence and treat each other as equals. Basically, we have three kinds of dialogue. A dialogue which is focused on objective understanding, like conference or meeting, even in lecture or class discussion, where goal is common understanding of content. That dialogue is called technical dialogue. Another one, a dialogue where the speaker is not focused on the other person whom he speaks with, focused only on himself and what he is saying. It is called monologue disguised as dialogue. Lastly, the genuine relationship, where two parties involved are focused on each other. They pay attention to the presence of the other, like two people who are in love and enjoying the company of each other. In understanding a person, there are obstacles that stood in our way. What barriers do you experience when making a dialogue or talking to people? Seeming is one of the barriers of relationship, where a person pretends like what they want to be seen or appear as something other than yourself. Another is imposition, where people is holding your own opinion, values, attitudes, and ourselves without regard for those of the others. Lastly, we have the speechifying, which refers to one's talking. It is hearing without listening to what one says. How can you promote good relation with others in your daily life? By becoming the opposite of these barriers. The contrast of seeming is being. We must be entirely independent of the impression that the others make upon us. We should not pretend. We should not wear false appearances and impressions or a mask to impress others. We must just present to our audience our real selves. Be personal, the opposite of speechifying, the act of making present, which is one's acceptance of the other person as a barrier of his own personal beliefs, ideas, and convictions. Lastly, be unfolding. It constitutes finding in the others the disposition toward what I myself recognize as true, good, and beautiful. If I am true, good, and beautiful, it is also the case that the other person is true, good, and beautiful in his own unique way.
Our perception about the world can either be subjective or objective, but it doesn't mean that we can be united. Because I believe as long as people see others as a person, we will live in harmony.